Welcome to the Mindful Healers podcast with
Dr. Jessie Mahoney
and Dr. Ni-Cheng Liang.
We are here to help you learn to pause and be present, awaken your breath, and harness the ripple effects of mindfulness for radiant health.
We get you. We know you. We are you.
We have both been successful on the surface, yet struggling underneath. We have both had cluttered brains, been overwhelmed, and exhausted.
We're healers who have found solutions and want to share them with you.
Join us here to discover a better way.
Welcome. A reminder that this podcast should not be construed as medical advice. We're going to start with our intention for this podcast, like always. Our intention is to share with you the magic of intentions and how this mindful approach to living helps you get closer to living the life that you actually want to be living. You'll discover the difference between intentions and goals and how intentions can help you achieve your goals with more ease.
We hope that you will take away the notion that when we focus on intentions as opposed to goals, you show up for your life with a different energy and a different vibrational frequency of living. So why do we start each of these Mindful Healers podcast episodes with intention? It's to provide a light post or a guiding light. It's direction setting, or perhaps a compass, directing you all, the listeners, as to where to focus your energy and where we are going. All of that is to say that that is what an intention is and why an intention can be helpful in your life. Intentions are also calming and peaceful. They settle you in for the journey. And as any good yoga teacher, we always start classes with an intention. And an intention in yoga is similar. I like to think of it as an aspiration or a wish for the short time period ahead, and then perhaps what you might want to bring into your life after class off the mat. In Sanskrit, an intention is a promise. So as I think about intention setting in both yoga and life, you're choosing something that you want to cultivate, grow, or amplify, whether on the mat or off the mat. And one of the things we discover through yoga is that when we set intentions, it's such a powerful practice that we focus our energy on it during yoga on the mat. And we notice afterwards that we see the world in a different light, and it filters into all the nooks and crannies and impacts your life very much so outside of class as well.
There was a social media post that I had that differentiated between intentions and goals. And so let me summarize for those of you who didn't see that particular chart that I shared. So intentions tend to be more focused on the present. With intentions, we're not necessarily focused on the outcome. And usually it's about relationships. So relationships with both ourselves and perhaps with others. Goals, on the other hand, tend to be more future focused. And it's usually based upon achievements. And oftentimes goals are related to things that are external to yourself. That being said, though, I do want to point out that having both goals and intentions can be helpful. But perhaps you, like many in healthcare, especially when we were in training, we were taught to be more goal-oriented. That was kind of like the paradigm of our learning and our matriculation through the different years of medical school and residency and perhaps fellowship. And so now, for instance, to give you an example, practicing medicine, I've reached my medical profession training goal of being a pulmonologist, but my intentions might change day to day, patient visit to patient visit, ultimately, perhaps even moment to moment. While, of course, I still have overarching goals for the future, living from intention to intention definitely has served me more. It helps me focus on my energies, like you just mentioned, Jesse. It acts as a compass for me. And ultimately, it helps me stay present with my lived experience of this moment, even if the situation happens to be difficult. What about you, Jesse?
I like to think of intentions as how you want to approach life or how you want to spend your energy, focus your attention, and really how you want to feel in life. As you were speaking, it struck me two things. It's not just in medicine that we're very goal focused. As an entire society, and perhaps as a world, though not universally, we're very focused on goals and setting goals and New Year's resolutions and what's your next goal. And it's almost as if we can't be without a goal. And I think that when we step out of the focus on the goal, and perhaps that's why we named this Why Intentions Are Better Than Goals, you can really get at the experiential part of life. And I was thinking about parenting. And if we think about our parenting as a goal, so much of parenting is about things that are out of our control. And so much of life is about things that are out of our control. And so when we focus on the goal, I think that's where a lot of the anxiety and frustration and even resentment in relationships comes. And so this idea that if we focus on our intention, how we want to show up for it, how we want to approach it, what energetic frequency do we want to be present with for those we love, and how do we want to feel in a relationship or even in our life or even in our career, that as a guiding light post rather than a driving force can help us live our lives more in the moment and more fully. And so when I coach, I don't actually coach at all to goals, which I think a lot of people feel like they hire a coach to help them achieve a goal. And so I always tell people I don't coach to goals. I really coach to how you want to feel. And I actually really like this idea of saying, I think I coach to intentions, which is how do you want to approach your life, knowing that we can't control the outcome. We can only control what's within. And intention is very much an internal experience and our own aspirations coming from yoga. And I also think that when you have intentions, they help you achieve the goals more easily. And so rather than the drive or the push and the forcing, you're in alignment with your values. And then so much more actually opens up as possibilities. The other piece with intentions as opposed to goals is we often think about the goal and that's the end product, but so much in achieving a goal is who you become in the process. And medical training is the perfect example, right? You become the doctor, but it's really who you became each step of the way and all the changes that happened. Or as a parent, it's the process that's much more important than the end product. And I find that when people focus so much on the end product, they sometimes don't end up with the product that they wanted. Whereas if they focus on how they want to feel and the process and who they want to become, then the actual end product that they truly desire and is really in alignment with who they are authentically becomes much more clear. So I like to think goals are great to get things done, but they sometimes get us stuck. And when you focus so much on the outcome that you ignore the journey, you miss both the lessons of the journey and the joy of the journey. So I love the concept that you raised about intentions being about being present and being in the moment. One thought that I wanted to explore with you is this idea. I, for several years, have had words, intentional words for the year, essentially as a guiding light or a light post. And part of it is perhaps manifesting what you want, but much of it is deciding where you are in alignment and what feels right. And it's been an extremely interesting experience over the last couple of years, and I thought it's really worth talking about. Do you have thoughts about this?
Yeah, so interestingly, I don't actually have a practice of picking a word or two for the year, because the last time I was asked this was when I first met you at the retreat, I said discomfort would be my word for 2021. And then the pandemic happened. And so it's not exactly what I had meant or anticipated. And definitely, it never in my wildest dreams did I imagine the discomfort I, with the rest of the world, would be thrust into over the last 18 months or so. And now that you're bringing up the same question again, doing some reflection before we decided to record this particular episode, the following words come up for me, and not necessarily in a particular order, but in a grammatically correct particular order. It would be fierce, Asian, and woman. The COVID-19 pandemic definitely revealed the raw underbelly of the current healthcare system with its industrialization and how harmful it's been. And then related to that, health disparities, and along with that, racism in the United States. So I'm setting the intention to meet all of this with some more discomfort revealed to me personally and professionally by showing up, and speaking out with fierceness, even if I'm a little bit afraid to do so, knowing that I can and will show up as an Asian American woman, no longer seeking to assimilate in white supremacy culture, but rather having my own back and embodying truly and showing up just as I am with my unique identity and perspectives as an Asian American woman. So, what are your words, Jessie?
I will get to my words in a moment, but I wanted to reflect on a couple of things that you said that I think are really powerful, which is it doesn't matter the order of your words, and that having more than one word can be really, really powerful because it creates this sort of full spectrum experience, and it allows you to sort of bring more color to the light post or lighthouse that you're trying to create for yourself. And so you're not just choosing that you're going to have a light, but you're choosing the point in the ocean where it's going to be and what kind of weather they have there, and sort of choosing it with more specific care and attention. The other thing that comes to mind actually a bit in yoga, we talk about it. Be careful what you choose to think and choose as your intention, because those words that we tend to choose, they really do tend to show up in every nook and cranny of your life. And that is what I have found. And so I think the way I like to think about it is choose with care and choose with intention, as opposed to be careful, because that has a very different energy to it. But what I have found when I've chosen these words is that they really have shown up everywhere for me. And that I think is the power of the thought behind them. And I will tell you that in my practice, I think about them for several months. I try them on and I figure out whether I like them. And I usually try to choose 3. And this year I chose 4 because I couldn't just choose 3. And I felt like I really had to add the 4th, which was aspirational for me and something I really wanted to work on. But I felt like I couldn't work on it without the other 3. And so what I think is really interesting is that in my experience, they also play off of one another. And this is why I love the idea of intentions as opposed to goals, because they are a much more full experience. And they can, rather than just an end product or an outcome, they're all about the journey and the experience and how they can interplay with one another. So my words this year, we've actually talked about them here in the episode about Mother's Day and have relationships with your mother. And I recently actually wrote about them in my relationships with my young adult children. And what I truly notice is that these words pop up absolutely everywhere for me. And everywhere I look, there they are. And whether it's the chicken or the egg, I don't know, but that's why I would say choose words that are really in alignment with what you would like to see in your life. And I often spend quite a bit of time with my clients working on words. And what's really interesting is someone might come up with just one word that actually just seeps into every area of their life, or they may come up with 3. And I see for everyone that they show up over and over and over again. So to me, an intention is really a truly powerful practice because it doesn't even matter where you end up. It's the process of experiencing and living the words. So with that, my words for this year are love, abundance, grounded, and then the aspirational one that I added was proud. And proud for me is in part showing up in a way for my life and my children and my family that in which I can be proud. And also practicing owning pride, which is not something that many women in particular are comfortable with. And when I was researching the word, there's a lot of negative connotations to this idea of being proud or having pride in your work and yourself, and whether, it's flaunting or bragging. And so for me, it was really an important word to explore, and couldn't be explored without this idea of groundedness and love, which includes compassion. And so once again, just the interweaving of all of these important concepts, which really are concepts that come up in all the realms of mindfulness. I think it's really powerful and interesting how you can use these intentions to shape your life.
As you were talking, the thought came up that setting intentions is almost like giving us permission to embody those words, and especially the aspirational one, like the aspirational word. Um, like for me, it would be the fierceness. So yeah, that came up for me as you were talking.
And I think thinking with a lot of attention and intention to what you want to embody and who you want to become. We often don't take the time to think about that. And that's the mindful approach to life rather than living on autopilot, taking a moment to take stock and think about, well, at the end of the following year. So for me, it was in December of 2021. Which of these things do I want more of in my life? And I really wanted to shift out of a scarcity mindset into a more abundant mindset and be able to notice and appreciate and accept and allow all of that, whether it was in my business, in my relationships, in my health, in my life, all of the things. And same with love. And so really focusing on, if I approach the world with love towards everyone and allowed love, and a lot of it, many of these words go both ways. So it's not just you embodying it, but it's you showing up and giving it to others, or the impact that perhaps your fierceness for something that you believe super strongly in would have on others. And that's where I think the idea of an intention is really a powerful one, that when used thoughtfully and mindfully can be life-changing.
As always, we're going to close our episodes with some reflection questions. And this, dear listener, is a perfect opportunity for you to take some time to reflect. What would happen if you set intentions annually, monthly, daily, maybe even situationally?
How might life be different if you set intentions for how you would like to feel? What might be different if you set intentions rather than goals?
What's your intention today? Physician listeners, I invite you to join me in my Mindful Physician course. I hope that you make an intentional decision to infuse mindfulness into your doctoring. I can help you build a mindful scaffold of support. We start in community on August 8th.
And if you want to start living your life more intentionally and easefully, intentionally opt to take some time for you by joining me for Nourish and Transform coaching and yoga retreats in Central California. You can do this as early as August, and your fall in 2022 will be completely different if you choose to do so.
Thank you so much for listening. And we would so appreciate you sharing, leaving stars and reviews.
We invite you to stay on after the sound of the singing bowl to join us for an intentional, mindful moment. As always, if you want to declutter your mind, be more present, and start truly living your one wild and precious life, come find us at the mindfulhealerspodcast.com.
Work with one of us.
Work with both of us.
Start or uplevel your mindfulness practice.
Discover how mindful coaching can change your life.
Or even better, do both as part of our Mindful Healers programs and retreats. You can find links to find out more about our programs and join our communities at themindfulhealerspodcast.com.
Reach out and get started on your journey to a life better lived today.
The content of this podcast is not meant to be medical or life advice. If you choose to participate in our mindful moments, please do so safely.
Welcome to today's mindful moment, a moment to connect with your desired intentions. Wherever you may be, take a moment to pause if it's safe. Notice your feet upon the earth if you're standing, and if you're seated, ground your sit bones into the stability of the earth below. Allow yourself to settle and land and quiet for a moment. If it's safe to do so, I offer the invitation to close your eyes. Take in a deep inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth. Focus on one more deep breath in through the nose and out through your mouth. Bring your left hand to your heart. Place your right hand atop and press in gently. Release a bit of oxytocin. Allow the good feeling to spread throughout, and take a moment to notice and to feel. And to allow yourself to be you in this moment, in this space. And in this space, think for a moment about how you would like to feel in your life. What would you like to grow or cultivate? Not where do you want to be or get to or push, but how do you want to experience the world? What would you like more of or less of? What do you enjoy? What would you like to keep? Take another deep inhale and an exhale. And pay attention to your heart here. What is your heart telling you? Our hearts are often much more in tune with our intentions than our minds. Our minds often focus on goals and outcomes and what ifs. Can you take this short, mindful pause to tap into what you want, what you truly desire? What is authentically you? What would you like to grow? What you practice grows. And subtle can be quite significant. So as you think about the intentions you might like to bring into your life in the year ahead, thinking about what you would like to cultivate, what would you like to experience more of? How would you like to feel? How would you like to show up for those around you? What would you like to seep into the nooks and crannies of your life? And perhaps establish a guidepost, a lighthouse, something to direct your intention something to go back to when you are a little bit lost or unsure or stuck in the fog, a lighthouse for your ship. Take a moment to think about what that might look like for you. Often we don't know exactly what it looks like, but we do know what it feels like. Can you take a moment to tap into what those feelings might be? Explore the words. Is it peace? Is it love? Is it clarity? Is it abundance? Is it grounded? Is it creativity? Could it be positivity or possibility? What might it be for you? Hand to heart, try to quiet the mind and listen to your heart. What is it telling you about what you would like to grow and what you would like to cultivate? Can you practice and cultivate the art of listening to your intuition, your inner voice, the guidance of your heart? Notice that your heart is a voice that speaks differently from the one in your head. It often whispers softly. Notice if your head is speaking louder here. Is it intervening, making suggestions? Does your head have an agenda? It often chatters boldly and loudly, but perhaps the vision is limited. Perhaps your head is not leaving room for the mysterious workings of the universe, or the side trips that we need to get where we're going, or where your soul needs and wants to go. The intentions and the feelings are what your soul would like in the side trips, and they take into account the mysterious workings of the universe. So, can you listen to your heart and your inner voice? Listen to its pull, listen to its push, and allow yourself to be surprised what pops up from this space of mindful pause. Take in a deep inhale and an exhale. Once again, connect to those hands on your heart. Notice how it feels underneath and listen in the quiet. Allow the emotions to come into play. Allow the wisdom to come into play. Allow your inner voice to grow. What you practice grows. Practice listening to your heart, trusting yourself and trusting what you feel, trusting what you really know, and allow those to become intentions. With established intentions, they can instill themselves deeply and peacefully into all the nooks and crannies and guide you in the year ahead in a calm and easeful place towards those things that are really meaningful. Not from a place of forcing, but from a place of ease. Take a moment to sit with that concept. How does it feel? Once again, take in a deep inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth. Bring your hands to heart center, rub your palms together. Perhaps notice the flesh of skin to skin. Pause here. Once again, if you have connected with your heart and your inner voice, make an intention for the days, weeks, months, years ahead, perhaps, knowing that you can shift course at any time. But set your light post. your lighthouse, your guiding light towards a direction. Listen to your inner compass as an intention and see what happens as you move forward from here. Taking a final inhale to seal in those thoughts and intentions and wishes, the desires of your heart, and let it go. And slowly lower your hands to your thighs and take a moment here to settle into the experience and notice how it feels to listen to your true self and allow it, whatever it might be telling you, even if uncomfortable. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes and let the light back in. Thank you all so much for experiencing this mindful moment with me. I hope you enjoyed listening to your heart. And I look forward to hearing how having a mindful intention and a guidepost and a light post helps you as you move forward with your lives. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.